This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
这是我。
This is me.
This is me.
And this is us.
You guys, it's been a minute, but welcome back to season 4 of This Is Us, a show where I give you guys the opportunity to meet and interact with some people in the blind and visually impaired community. Now, I had to bring on a good friend of mine, especially now that she's playing a major role in the stage of life that I'm at. Victoria Farr. I pronounced your last name right?
Yeah.
Did I do? Oh, okay. So see, I'm happy when I tell you on these episodes, I'll be butchering people's names. So
I bet. I mean, some people still can say mine wrong. They say fair, and I'm like, that's far.
Oh wow. Okay. Look, I tell you, people add stuff when it ain't even there.
Mm-hmm.
So, go ahead and get this ball rolling. So, Vicky, if you don't mind, give us a little introduction to yourself, your name, your age, where you're from, all that good stuff.
Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Victoria. I go by Vicky. I'm 25 years old, and I was born and raised and still live in South Carolina.
Okay. And since we are doing this for the blind and visually impaired, what is the nature of your blindness? What caused you to go blind and all that good stuff?
So my condition is called pseudotumor cerebri, also known as idiopathic intracranial hypertension. It's a whole bunch of mouthful of nothing.
Yeah.
Pretty much, to sum it all up, for some reason, my body tricked itself into thinking I had a brain tumor. So it reacted as if I did, and it caused spinal fluid to get built up inside of the skull. And because I was overseas in the military at the time, they didn't really know what was going on. And since they didn't know what was going on, they didn't know that if they did not relieve the pressure, that the spinal fluid would get in behind the eyes and pinch off the optic nerves. So I was there for probably a month without any treatment. And because of that, that's how I ended up losing my vision.
Wow. Interesting. That's the first time I've ever heard of that, that particular eye disease.
Yeah, because it's caused by something else, but they don't really know. That's why it says idiopathic. That pretty much means there's no medical explanation. It could be a number of things. I had several different doctors. One thought it could have been my birth control that caused it. A doctor thought I might have had a stroke because of my scans showed I had like a blood clot in the face area somewhere. And then another doctor thought that I was lying about getting into a four-wheeler accident, that I must have hit my head or something to cause the pressure. So since none of them could pinpoint for sure what it was, that's when they deemed it to be idiopathic intracranial hypertension.
So wait a minute. I think the real question is why a four-wheeler as opposed to like a bike or a motorcycle or...
I should explain that one. Because at the time, I was overseas, stationed in Japan. I was in the Air Force, but I had took a month leave to come back to the States to be with my family for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So probably about maybe 2 weeks before I was due to fly back, me and my dad went four-wheeling. And I had a bad experience the first time I went four-wheeling, so I was not driving. I was riding on the back of his. And we went on the easy trails, nothing crazy. It was just, I told them what I was doing prior to getting back to Japan. I told them I went four-wheeling, so they just naturally assumed that I was lying about crashing it. So.
Gotcha. Because in my mind, I'm like, I wonder why they chose that.
Right, I'm sorry. I couldn't explain that. Yeah, and because the thing in the military is if you're going to do any kind of activity like that, you're supposed to fill out a form or something like that. Anything that could be considered dangerous or something, so that you're covered. So when you do something like that and you don't tell them prior, they will try to say, oh, well, you should have told us, you must have got injured, and now that you're injured, you're trying to get out of work. And I'm like, no, I'm not trying to get out of work. I'm just telling y'all, so I don't know. It could be a number of things that could have been wrong, because I went in initially for upper back pain. I wasn't having visual issues. It was just upper back pain. So that's why I told them, and they just took it and ran with it. So.
Okay. So for those,
I'm still here. I was like, oh, is that me?
To getting a phone call, so I do apologize for that, you guys. But what I what I was actually saying is those of you guys who actually are totally blind like me and are actually watching this, Vicky, could you give them a I guess a physical description of how you look?
Okay, so I am African American. I have probably shoulder length, dark brown, curly hair. It's the shrinkage. Trust me, my hair is way longer than that. It's just the shrinkage. I think I'm colorblind, so I think my hoodie is either burgundy or purple. It's either one of those, and it has like white stripes on the sleeve.
Okay.
And I guess the most noticeable thing about my facial features is I have really big cheeks, like chipmunk cheeks when I smile. So that's something people usually point out the first time they see me. It's like, oh, you got some big cheeks. I'm like, thanks, I guess. Thanks.
And and look, fun fact. So when I was a kid, my mom used to always talk about how she was always like, you can't be this hungry. And so what I would do is when I was eating, I would always like shove food in my mouth, and then before I would eat it, I would store it in my cheeks like a squirrel. And then I would eat like the rest of the food, and then that's when I would go and eat the food in my cheeks. So yeah, I was a weird kid.
My hamster used to do that. He would just stuff his face full of the seeds and stuff and just store it for later.
Right. So that was definitely me. I don't know if I thought the food was gonna go away or something like that, so I had to hurry up and do something with it. But yeah. So real quick, I guess we'll go ahead and get down to the nitty gritty, if you will. So there were actually a couple of things that you touched on that I actually was not aware of. So you did say that you actually served in the military. So tell us a little bit about your time in the military.
Okay, so I joined the military right after high school. I went to basic training probably the week before I turned 19. I was in Texas for the Air Force basic training. After that, probably like 8 weeks of training. After I completed that, I went to Fort Lee, Virginia for tech school. Spent probably about a month and a half over there. And then that's when I got my orders that I was going to be stationed all the way in Japan, which was not something I picked at all. In the military, there's a thing called a dream sheet. And so you pretty much write down the places that you would like to go. But they call it a dream sheet for a reason. It's a dream. You most times you're not going to get what you want on the list. So when I was being stationed at, all it said was Masawa. And I was like, it didn't have like what it was. So I was like, what is Masawa? Like, I've never heard of that. So I had to Google it. Japan. I was like, oh my God. So Japan. Was like, okay. So I went over there. It was definitely, I was in the countryside of Japan. I wasn't in Tokyo. I was up north where it was all farmland and snow and all that jazz. So I probably did a little under 2 years over there before I started losing my vision.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
And see, and the crazy thing is, you actually were just getting ready to talk about it. I think a lot of times when we hear Japan, we instantly think Tokyo. Bright lights and so.
Yeah.
I always kind of feel like when you say countryside, I'm thinking like those old samurai movies where it's like the one like lonely shack like in the middle of nowhere, and the guys out like in the front yard shining his sword.
I was telling you, like when you if you were to like go down, I don't know what they're called, like toll roads or something, and your windows were down, it was nothing but farmland. It smelled straight like cow manure. There was nothing there to do, honestly. I mean, there was like one little nightclub and a couple little bars, but that was about as good as it's gonna get. If you wanted to have fun and do more stuff, then you would travel like 4 hours to the next biggest city to like shop. 4 hours. And I think from where I was at to get to Tokyo was 8 hours. It was an 8-hour drive, I think.
Oh my God.
So it was on my bucket list to go to Tokyo, but I didn't get the chance. But it's okay. I've heard stories of people going to Tokyo and having a great time. So.
Okay. So I know we've personally discussed you working with the VA. I'm assuming after you got out of the Air Force or the military. So I was wondering exactly what has been your experience working with them, and exactly what did you do?
Okay, so what happened was when I lost my vision, I was still active duty, And so while on active duty, they pretty much ordered me to. I didn't have a choice. They ordered me to go to blind rehab down in Augusta, Georgia. It was
all right, Georgia.
right Augusta. I was like, hey, I'm not mad about it. So it was the VA's blind rehab in Augusta, Georgia. I still to this day, I'm the youngest member they have ever had in their facility. Most people who are veterans who go to blind rehabs are either because they later on in their life they lost their vision, or they were older than me and had a condition that caused them to lose their vision. I went when I was 20, so I was the youngest one to ever be there. I actually spent my 21st birthday in blind rehab. So I had asked them, I was like, so I'm 21, right? That means I can go have a drink, right? And I was like, no, you're not going anywhere.
Oh, wow.
And that was it. So I spent 2 months at the blind rehab, learning how to adjust to now being blind. I had to go through mobility classes. Had to learn how to use computers, my cell phone, printers, TVs, all things technology. I learned from there as well. And actually my teacher, he was also a veteran as well, and he was completely and totally blind. So he showed me how to use my MacBook and my phone and all things like that. So I spent there probably about 2 months, wasn't allowed to leave until they deemed me, I guess, okay to live on my own now. And so after that, it was just a waiting process, probably like a few months of waiting for my discharge to fully go through. But after that, the VA definitely, I always say that I'm thankful that I lost my vision while being in the military, because I've never had to pay for a single thing.
Mm-hmm.
I never had to pay any medical bills. All of the equipment they gave me, I never had to pay anything for it as well. Also, another great thing is the amount of time I did do in the military. It allowed me to have 2 different pools of money to pull from for school. So
Okay.
a GI Bill, which covers 36 months worth of schooling, and then and because I'm permanently blind, there's voc rehab, which I think I've heard like in like regular blind communities they do have like the same kind of thing, but with the VA I think it's like different I guess stipulations on it. I guess they're not as strict as I've heard like at the National Blind Federation. I think it's a little bit different. So my teacher who taught me how to use my computers and stuff, he told me if I want to go to school, go through my GI Bill first, so that, because that's going to run out. That'll eventually run out after 36 months. And after that, then go use the voc rehab, because as long as I'm in school, it don't matter how long I'm in, they will pay for all.
They will pay for it. Mm-hmm.
Pay for all of it. So to me, I truly am blessed that I was in the military, because I don't know what my life would be like if I wasn't. I don't know if I would have to pay for everything, and schooling and stuff like that would have been a little bit more difficult, I think.
Yeah. So that's so interesting, because I know like with voc rehab where I was from, I think like when I actually took some of those same courses, like you said, it was like their main goal is, I guess, to get you like you said, either back in school or back out working. So whatever the expense is or whatever they need to do or people they need to put you in contact with, they make it happen. And I think that's a wonderful service for people out here who are going through blindness. So moving on, you guys, I had the opportunity to meet Vicky through a good friend of ours. But from what I'm understanding, Vicky, I'm trying to figure out the right way to say this. I think Vicky kind of gained her moment to shine with the infamous TikTok video where she asked who all would be interested in joining a WhatsApp group for the blind.
So I was thinking, for my blind and visually impaired friends on here, would you guys be interested in starting a WhatsApp group chat? WhatsApp is really accessible, especially when it comes to leaving audio messages. You can leave them longer than what Facebook allows you to do. I was a part of one after I had my daughter, a blind mom group chat, and it was so nice having friends that could relate to me that were blind and visually impaired, because I don't have anyone around me or near me that is blind or visually impaired. So it was so nice. And we talked all day and all night, told each other stuff, personal stuff that we wouldn't even tell our family or friends about, and definitely wouldn't post on social media about. So I think there should be one for the girls, one for the guys, and then one a mix of girls and guys. So if anyone wants to be a part of it, if enough people want to, I'll create it and I'll send out the link. So just comment, inbox me, Stitch This, and let me know if you want to be a part of it.
I luckily now am a part of that WhatsApp group and I've been enjoying it ever since. But for those who are wondering, what was the inspiration behind creating this group and how has it been ever since?
Okay, so my thing behind it was when all the things happened last year, 2020 during the pandemic, it was rough on all of us, but I feel like for those who are already blind and visually impaired, we were already used to being in the house. So being on lockdown was nothing really new for us. Like we already stay in the house because it's hard for us to even get to places because you have to rely on someone else to take you, or you have to ask if someone's free to take you. So when everything was going on last year, I was already in the house already. So I was probably, last year was like my third year being blind. I was just going through a lot. I was trying to I think I was still in my depression of losing my vision. I don't think I ever acknowledged it when it first happened. I kind of always denied that, I was depressed and didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I was young and everyone my age was going to college, graduating from college, moving away, and I was still just stuck here. So I really went through a time period, was like, well, what am I doing now? Like I started to get deep into my faith and I was like, God, what am I doing? Like, I don't know what I'm here for, honestly. And I just got to a point where I was getting very, very low, very, very sad. I felt like I didn't have anyone in my area that could relate to how I'm feeling, to the feeling of being trapped inside of like a luxury prison. Like my house, like everything's cool and nice and all the TV and Netflix and chill and snacks, all that seems great. And a lot of people like, oh, I wish I could stay at home like you. And I'm like, I promise you, you do not want this life. I'd rather be out talking. I'd rather be working. I want to go places and stuff like that. So I was really feeling down, and I just decided, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm tired of being sad. I'm tired of being depressed. I want actual connections with people, and I want to have connections with people who experience what I feel like being inside the house all the time and not having the choice to go where I want when I want. So I prayed about it for a long time. Like, God, I just want some friends. I just want some good friends, some great friends that I can talk to and laugh to. And I was like, I just want to be surrounded by good people. And so I don't know what made me want to do it. I've been in a WhatsApp group before, but it fell apart. So I was like, well, I know, like, and I started making TikTok videos to, because I started seeing like blind TikTokers, and I was like, and I saw one girl had the same condition as me, and so she encouraged me to tell my story as well. So I was seeing all this on TikTok. I was like, wow, there's so many like blind people on TikTok, and I didn't even notice it. So I finally was like, let me just, I guess, make a video and see if, people want to join a WhatsApp support group for who are blind and vision impaired like me. And I was like, because I know that WhatsApp was accessible. So I'm like, we could leave audio messages, stuff like that. And so I made the video, posted it. Didn't think I would get a lot of people seeing it because I only had like a little over like 1,000 followers at the time. And 2 days later, like the video shot up to like 7,000 views. And I was like, what is going on here? Like, and so many people were commenting. It was like, yeah, I want to join. And they're telling me their stories. And I'm a blind mom. And I've been this and that. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, I didn't think I would get like so many people who would want to join, honestly. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna create these different groups, because I saw some people who were moms and with guys and girls, and I was like, okay, I want to have different groups so each person or each group can have their privacy. Like the ladies have a group that they can talk about girl things, and I don't know what guys talk about, but I'm sure guy things. So they can have their own group as well. And I was like, also they should interact with each other, like guys and girls. So I made the mixed group, and then I made the blind mom group. And I think yesterday actually marked our 4 month anniversary of us talking.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's been
Okay.
4 months. And so much has happened just in those 4 months. It's been amazing. I've met so many people, got to know so many people on a deeper personal level, done traveled by myself for the first time, blind.
Okay. Okay.
So
All
that was
right
that
now.
been really great, really amazing, and I'm truly blessed to have been a part of this, and to have people like you who wanted to join and want to say, okay, I'm down. I want to be friends as well. So I'm truly grateful to everybody that I've interacted with in these past 4 months.